there were times where I had to explain basic human dignity over and over again. So this is quite tiring and sometimes traumatizing. We are born in a different country than the one that we live, or when we migrate to a country, to another country, or when we are from a mixed background, as it is in my case, where my father is actually Sudanese and my mother is from Greece. So I am in between these two cultures and two identities. And to tell you the truth, I use both of them according to where I am speaking. So I grew up between these two cultures, which are great cultures, both of them. And I carry both my Sudanese roots and also my Greek roots. And I was inside the, I would say, activism part in Athens since the age of 17 years old, because my father was the president of the Arab Association in his university, and then he was also the president of the Sudanese community in Greece. So it was something that was very close to my heart. It was my everyday life and was part of my family tradition in a way, if one can say that. And this is how I started working in this field. The truth is that trying to navigate between these questions of identity, it was quite easy for me because my name, Adla, means also justice in Arabic. So it was like handing me a baton, saying that you have to be just and you have to be, you have to consider what is going on and to see the if you can help someone, if you can be just for someone, then you should do that.
I want to also ask, how does it feel to advocate for migrant communities, as you just mentioned, in a country where you're also part of that community?
It's like having a double responsibility. It's like being two people at the same time, because on the one hand you are advocating and sometimes you are sometimes as part of your profession, but on the other hand these are issues that are deeply personal. It's not just that when such policies from the state fail, then these affect people from your family, from the communities that you belong to, from the people that you are experienced, that you have experienced with every day in your life. So sometimes it can be quite emotional, to tell you the truth, which is exhausting. And sometimes it might even be traumatizing. They don't consider you as a human being. They consider you as data, as numbers. So if there is a boat with 300 migrants, there is a boat with 300 migrants. It's not 300 people, it's not 300 human beings, it's not 300 families, family members, people who have suffered, who came from another country, sometimes from a country who is in war because of what we are doing in Europe or in any other country. There are different reasons why someone would want to leave their home. And from these reasons, most of them are bad. So when people are coming, they are treated mostly as beneficiaries and not as human beings. And I think that this is the main problem. Sometimes, in the name of security, people are being killed in the borders of Europe. And this is not a way to face a social phenomenon. So, especially now when we are discussing about the International Refugee Day, We should consider that at the seas of the Mediterranean, at the seas of the Aegean, we have people who have lost their lives, thousands of people who have lost their lives, while trying to flee war, conflict, and pain.
You work at the intersection of migration and racial justice.
Mhm.
Are some women more invisible than the others in the system?
I'm sorry that I'm laughing, but I had this discussion very quite the previous week. I had this discussion because the truth is that race plays a very significant role when we are discussing about migration, because it's determining the visibility. It's determining the visibility, the acceptance, and the access to opportunities. One very good example for what has happened in Europe is how Europe has responded to the people who were fleeing from Ukraine, which was completely different. Women from African backgrounds, in particular, often face both racism and sexism simultaneously. We have this intersectional approach in race, and you can see that what we saw with the temporary, it was called the temporary residence, which was issued almost immediately from the people who were coming from Ukraine. But on the other hand, we had people who were coming from Syria, from Afghanistan, from Congo, from Sudan, from Palestine. And these people, they were not, their residence, in order to ask for asylum and to receive the asylum, they had to wait more than 6 months, which meant that they were 6 months in a camp in the borders of Greece, and they didn't have the opportunity to have the same benefits as the people who were coming from Ukraine, because their children were immediately going to school. They had different type of benefits, and of course they were accepted by I mean, if we want to talk about inclusion, I think that race, especially color, is very distinctive. It plays a very significant role in how the process is going to be for people who are migrating.
Adla, what does integration actually mean for a woman who has lost everything? And while you were just talking, is integration even the right word?
No, I prefer that. Sorry about that, but I tend not to use this word. Usually it is in terms of translation, because, for example, in Greece we started using the word integration when we were discussing about migration, but I prefer the word participation. I prefer also the word inclusion, because integration is, as a colleague of mine once said, integration is like changing your skin. It's becoming someone else. It's not being who you are and feeling included in a specific society. It's like you are changing the process in which you are recognizing yourself in a content, but the society remains unchanged. So I prefer to use the word participation, which actually is a two-way process, because on the one hand you have the opportunity to contribute with your talents, but also being recognized for that, and your culture, your knowledge, your experience. And I think that the goal when we are talking about inclusion and participation is that we don't have people being lost in a society and being the same as everyone else. Difference, for me, difference is always something good.
Can you share a story, and you don't need to use their name, of a woman who arrived with nothing and has built something meaningful?
Before, I think 5 or 6 years ago, I have met with a young woman from Afghanistan in a camp, and she was like, she came alone. She was really young, she was really frightened, and she wanted to learn Greek. So I proposed to her some organizations that we knew at that time were doing Greek lessons. And I also told her that our office has volunteer teachers that she can come and freely have lessons. Our lessons were done also in the afternoon, so it was easier for her. And she was coming every day from a camp outside of Greece on her own. Sometimes she had to walk on foot for a long, long time because these camps are situated outside the cities and there is not always a bus. Sometimes she had to stay at friends' houses, or one time we even let her sleep here in the office. And she managed to take her degree. She managed to be a translator in an NGO, and also she managed to start her own organization. It's not formal yet, but she is helping other refugee women, and I think that if I am proud of something, it's giving this information to this person.
Europe is shifting politically. Far right governments, they're now gaining the grounds. What does it mean, or what does that really mean practically for the women that you serve right now?
I know that we have to speak about women, but unfortunately, this shift is affecting everyone. And the consequences of this political shift in Europe are real. We see that every day that migration has become a political battleground, if one might say, and we have migrant women and men who are often paying the price. We have restrictive policies, less access to services, and we have this public narrative that is very against immigration. And what is particularly concerning the last months is that this far-right rhetoric can normalize discrimination, which also means that the societies feel that it is okay to act with hate and that it is okay to have violence. And I will give you some examples, besides the examples that we have in Belfast, which are really huge. In the last weeks in Greece, we have witnessed an increase in specific type of racist and hate-motivated incidents. We have an assault to the Filipino community in Greece. We have attacks against other migrant community members. We have attacks against the LGBTQI plus community. We have intimidation involving fascist slogans and Nazi salutes in the north part of Greece. We have hate speech circulating online, and it's also targeting even our own organization. We have published an information guide about victims of racist violence, and underneath that post, we had a number of comments which are considered racist and sometimes even slightly committing a hate crime.
Speeches are made, we light the candles, and then the next day, the pushback continues.
Yes.
What do you actually want people to do after listening to this conversation?
I want people to move beyond the empathy part. beyond feeling that, okay, oh, I'm a philanthropist and I have to do something, and I consider this and I find myself hearing a very nice story, and move from that into action. So if you want to do something, listen to migrant voices directly. Support organizations led by refugees and migrants. There are a lot of organizations like that out there. Challenge misinformation. This is crucial. We need, and everyone needs to challenge misinformation. Don't let it pass like that. We need also to vote for policies that are protecting human rights. Because when we are talking about human rights, we are talking about everyone's rights. We are not talking about just migrant rights or women rights. We are talking about everyone's rights. So, by doing that, you are also creating opportunities. So you have to create opportunities. Create opportunities in your workplace, in your school, if you are a teacher, and inside your communities, in your local communities. And most importantly, recognize migrants and refugees for who they are. They are human beings. They have ideas, they have skills, and also they have dreams. So I would just suggest that leave empathy aside and take action.
What gives you hope?
For me, hope is people and my son. So I feel hope when I see women who every day who are facing all these issues, who are part of what we call the migration flow, who have recently arrived or have arrived years before, and they have faced displacement, they have faced loss, they have faced trauma, but yet still choose to support others, and they are there every day. They are there. I find also hope in young people who refuse to accept racism, who are out there in demonstration and they don't consider racism to be as something normal. They shout about that. I find hope in communities that continue to show up when they are needed, and also I find hope in my son because he represents the future for me. He's here, and I want him to be happy. And I don't consider hope to be something to be optimistic about, but just to have in a way in your mind that when you hope, you are actually choosing to continue even though things are not whatever you thought that they should be. It's like when you fall, you need to get up. As many times as you fall, you need to get up, because otherwise change is not possible.